This lecture explores the advanced principles and applications of asymmetric thinking, illuminating strategies that can disrupt markets, elevate growth trajectories, and create sustainable competitive advantages. First, let's clearly define asymmetry in a business context. Asymmetry occurs when one entity possesses a disproportionate advantage or disadvantage compared to others. This could manifest as information asymmetry, where one party knows something critically valuable that others do not, or resource asymmetry, where smaller, more agile firms can outmaneuver slower, resource-rich incumbents. Understanding and exploiting these asymmetries requires intellectual rigor, keen observational skills, and an appetite for unconventional approaches. Consider the classical scenario popularized by Malcolm Gladwell, the David versus Goliath dynamic. At first glance, this story symbolizes the victory of the weak against the mighty through mere luck or determination. Yet deeper examination reveals strategic asymmetry at its core. David didn't merely rely on courage. He employed a specific, strategically advantageous skill set, his sling, against Goliath's slow, brute strength. This is a profound lesson in asymmetric thinking. Instead of confronting competitors directly on their strongest terms, identify subtle weaknesses or overlooked dimensions where your unique capabilities confer outsized leverage. To illustrate, let's examine Tesla's disruption of the automotive industry. Traditional car companies had billions of dollars in assets, established supply chains, and global market dominance. Tesla had none of this. Yet Tesla identified a critical market asymmetry. Traditional automakers dismissed electric vehicles as niche and unprofitable. Tesla embraced this niche early, leveraging technology and a lean startup approach. By the time legacy automakers recognized their miscalculation, Tesla had captured substantial market share, achieving a valuation exceeding traditional car giants, precisely because it exploited an initially hidden market asymmetry. A similar narrative unfolds in digital spaces. Take the example of Netflix's asymmetric strategy against the once dominant Blockbuster Video. Blockbuster operated a nationwide physical infrastructure that seemed unbeatable. Netflix, smaller and lacking such extensive resources, recognized an operational asymmetry: the enormous overhead costs tied to Blockbuster's thousands of physical stores. Netflix chose to innovate around logistics, mailing DVDs directly to homes and later streaming content over the internet, effectively circumventing traditional retail operations. By exploiting this subtle but powerful logistical asymmetry, Netflix dismantled Blockbuster's advantage, ultimately reshaping the entire media distribution industry. Asymmetric thinking can also be financial, where smaller players leverage strategic financial instruments or unconventional funding sources. For instance, savvy startups today increasingly avoid dilutive venture capital rounds by harnessing crowdfunding, pre-sales, strategic partnerships, and even creative financial engineering, such as asset-backed lending or off-balance sheet financing. This approach allows startups to maintain ownership, agility, and freedom to pivot quickly, a critical advantage in dynamic markets. One notable example: Oculus VR initially raised substantial funding through Kickstarter, validating its market and product viability before attracting venture capital and ultimately being acquired by Facebook for approximately $2 billion. Data asymmetry provides another critical vector for asymmetric leverage. Companies that deeply understand and utilize data insights gain outsized advantages. Amazon, for instance, leverages massive data asymmetry, an unprecedented understanding of consumer purchasing patterns, to predict demand, set dynamic prices, and optimize logistics far more effectively than its competitors. Smaller firms, too, can exploit data asymmetry by accessing niche data sets or employing advanced analytical tools such as AI-driven predictive modeling, creating competitive edges even with fewer overall resources. Consider, as well, regulatory asymmetry. Operating strategically within complex regulatory frameworks can create hidden advantages. Fintech startups, for example, frequently disrupt established banks by maneuvering within regulatory gray zones or leveraging regulatory sandboxes provided by governments. Companies like Square and Stripe initially bypassed cumbersome banking regulations by positioning themselves as technology platforms rather than financial institutions, rapidly gaining market traction before established players could respond. Another potent domain is psychological asymmetry, the strategic exploitation of competitor biases or industry blind spots. Industries often suffer from groupthink, becoming entrenched in assumptions about customer behavior, product innovation, or business models. Strategic entrepreneurs identify these psychological asymmetries and use them to craft disruptive innovations. Apple's introduction of the iPhone brilliantly exploited competitor biases. Mobile phone giants at the time dismissed touchscreen devices as impractical or niche. Apple challenged this collective bias, reshaping consumer expectations and redefining the smartphone market. Moreover, asymmetric thinking fundamentally involves risk management strategies. Successful entrepreneurs focus on opportunities where potential gains vastly outweigh limited risks. This asymmetric risk-reward scenario means structuring ventures or innovations so that failure has minimal financial and operational impact while success can exponentially propel growth. A classic example is Google's approach to experimentation, employing 20% time, allowing employees to pursue passion projects with minimal company risk. Some of these projects failed quietly. Others, such as Gmail and Google Maps, became transformational products that solidified Google's market dominance. It's crucial, however, to underscore ethical considerations. Employing asymmetric strategies responsibly means avoiding exploitative or deceptive practices. While information asymmetry can provide advantages, it must never compromise integrity, transparency, or consumer trust. Ethical, asymmetric thinking involves clearly communicating value propositions and maintaining fair treatment of all stakeholders, preserving reputation, and ensuring sustainable long-term advantage. Summarizing, asymmetric thinking involves recognizing hidden imbalances and strategically leveraging them across multiple business dimensions: operational, financial, informational, psychological, regulatory, and risk-based. Exceptional business leaders cultivate a mindset of constant inquiry and adaptability, systematically uncovering and exploiting these subtle but powerful asymmetries. The modern business landscape rewards those who refuse conventional strategies, opting instead to creatively rethink problems and opportunities through the powerful lens of asymmetry. As we continue through this advanced course, we'll deeply explore specific tactics within these dimensions. We'll identify practical applications of asymmetric thinking, analyze historical and contemporary case studies, and equip you with tools to detect and exploit hidden business opportunities systematically. By the course's conclusion, you'll possess a comprehensive toolkit enabling you to navigate and disrupt markets effectively, outmaneuver competitors, and consistently achieve outsized returns from carefully structured asymmetric strategies. Unconventional fundraising strategies. Welcome to Lecture 2, where we will explore unconventional fundraising strategies, diving deep into sophisticated methods that leverage hidden asymmetries and innovative financial tactics beyond traditional debt and equity capital. These strategies are essential for entrepreneurs and executives seeking to retain control, minimize dilution, and unlock hidden leverage points within their business models. Let us begin by examining pre-sales and revenue-based financing, two powerful, customer-funded methods. Pre-sales involve selling products or services in advance, providing immediate capital while validating demand. One notable example is Tesla Motors. When Tesla launched its Model 3 in 2016, the company collected over 400,000 pre-orders, each accompanied by a $1,000 deposit. This pre-sale campaign injected nearly $400 million into Tesla, offering significant interest-free capital that financed crucial production infrastructure. This method, while powerful, requires careful execution and clear communication, as customer trust hinges on delivery. In contrast, revenue-based financing, RBF, involves investors providing upfront capital in exchange for a fixed percentage of future revenues. Unlike traditional debt, repayments flex with revenue, aligning investor interests with business performance. For instance, a SaaS startup with stable recurring revenue can secure $500,000 through RBF, repaying investors 5% monthly until reaching a predetermined return, such as 1.5 times the initial investment. This approach allows businesses to scale without dilution or personal guarantees, making it ideal for predictable revenue streams. Next, consider grants and non-dilutive funding sources, often overlooked but potent avenues for securing capital without equity dilution. Government and foundation grants, particularly the Small Business Innovation Research (SBIR) program in the U.S., provide funding for technological and scientific innovation. For example, Moderna benefited from substantial government grants and contracts during COVID-19 vaccine development, significantly reducing reliance on private capital. Additionally, business competitions and awards, such as Mass Challenge or X Prize, offer not only funding but valuable exposure and credibility. Entrepreneurs should integrate grant seeking into their strategic fundraising plans, carefully targeting opportunities aligned with their missions and capabilities. Moving forward, crowdfunding hybrids, combining equity and community-driven funding, democratize capital raising. Equity crowdfunding platforms like WeFunder and Republic enable startups to raise capital from thousands of small investors. Brewdog, a Scottish craft beer company, notably raised over $97 million through its Equity for Punks crowdfunding rounds, creating thousands of brand ambassadors in the process. Such community-driven funding methods offer dual benefits: capital infusion and increased customer loyalty. However, equity crowdfunding requires stringent compliance and diligent investor communication to maintain trust. An innovative approach involves strategic partnerships and corporate co-development, where startups leverage larger corporations for capital, resources, and credibility. Pharmaceutical companies frequently use co-development agreements, such as Pfizer and BioNTech's partnership, where Pfizer provided substantial upfront and milestone payments, effectively financing BioNTech's vaccine research. Similarly, technology startups may license innovations to established corporations, securing upfront payments and royalties, enabling them to finance product development without equity dilution. Strategic partnerships require clear, contractual arrangements to align incentives and protect intellectual property. Now, let's examine media monetization and audience-funded growth, an emerging strategy in digital environments. Entrepreneurs who build strong personal or company brands through platforms like YouTube or podcasts can directly monetize their audiences through advertising, sponsorships, or membership models, funneling those revenues back into their businesses. Mr. Beast, a prominent YouTube creator, utilized revenues from his massive audience engagement to fund ventures like Mr. Beast Burger and Feastables Chocolate, demonstrating how audience monetization can substitute traditional funding methods. Maintaining authenticity and value is critical, as audience trust directly translates to financial support. An increasingly popular method, embedded finance models, integrates financial services directly into non-financial platforms, significantly amplifying revenue potential. For example, Shopify began as a software subscription platform but integrated Shopify Payments and Shopify Capital, dramatically increasing revenue from financial services. Embedded finance turns products into revenue-generating platforms, reducing external fundraising needs and enhancing customer stickiness. However, embedded finance strategies require careful regulatory navigation and transparent customer communication, ensuring ethical financial service delivery. Next, we consider the powerful leverage of customer-funded models and cash conversion cycle optimization. Companies like Zara and Dell mastered negative working capital, collecting customer payments faster than paying suppliers. Zara's model involves selling inventory within 30 days while paying suppliers after 60 days, effectively using supplier credit as growth capital. Similarly, subscription businesses collect predictable, recurring revenues upfront, funding operations without additional external investment. Entrepreneurs must manage these models ethically, maintaining transparent supplier relationships and ensuring timely customer delivery. An essential and often overlooked channel is government procurement and stealth government subsidies. Selling to government agencies provides substantial, stable revenue streams, particularly for companies in sectors like defense, healthcare, and energy. Companies like SpaceX and Palantir thrived due to early government contracts, providing revenue and credibility that later attracted private investors. Furthermore, indirect subsidies like loan guarantees, tax credits, and regulatory incentives such as Tesla's $465 million Department of Energy loan provide substantial low-cost capital. Entrepreneurs must approach government funding strategically, mindful of complex procurement processes and rigorous compliance requirements. Finally, sophisticated financial structuring via special purpose vehicles, SPVs, debt tranches, and off-balance sheet strategies can unlock additional capital sources. SPVs allow companies to isolate specific risks and assets, attracting specialized investors without diluting equity. For example, a renewable energy startup can use an SPV to finance a solar installation, securing funding against project-specific revenues without burdening the primary balance sheet. Similarly, structured debt financing using senior and junior debt tranches enables startups to attract multiple investor types by aligning risk appetite with return profiles, optimizing capital cost. Employing unconventional funding strategies demands robust ethical oversight and meticulous operational discipline. Transparent communication, fairness in stakeholder dealings, diligent regulatory compliance, and rigorous risk management underpin successful fundraising. Entrepreneurs must align funding sources with core values, ensuring sustainable and ethically sound growth. In summary, unconventional fundraising strategies provide entrepreneurs with diverse, powerful tools to secure capital creatively and sustainably. By leveraging these hidden funding asymmetries, you can finance business growth while retaining control, enhancing financial resilience, and building long-term stakeholder relationships. Remember, strategic creativity, ethical execution, and diligent management are the hallmarks of successfully implementing these innovative funding strategies. Monetization strategies and data-driven leverage. Welcome to Lecture 3, focused on hidden monetization strategies and data-driven leverage, a sophisticated exploration of leveraging overlooked opportunities within your business model, operational data, and customer interactions to dramatically enhance profitability and strategic advantage. Let's begin with an essential concept: hidden monetization. Traditional monetization involves selling products or services directly. Hidden monetization, however, uncovers latent revenue streams embedded within your existing operations, assets, or customer relationships, often invisible to competitors. Data-driven leverage, our complementary concept, describes strategically using insights derived from your data to multiply returns on investment, enhance customer value, and identify market asymmetries. In modern businesses, data isn't merely information. It's a competitive weapon capable of unlocking extraordinary growth opportunities. Part 1. Uncovering hidden monetization. Opportunities. Asset utilization and repurposing. Many businesses overlook monetizing assets beyond their primary purpose. Take Amazon as a profound example. Initially an e-commerce bookstore, Amazon identified hidden revenue in excess server capacity. By repurposing and monetizing this capacity, Amazon created Amazon Web Services, AWS, now generating billions annually. Entrepreneurs must critically evaluate underutilized assets, physical, digital, or intellectual, and assess alternative monetization pathways. A medical device company, for instance, might monetize anonymized patient data insights, creating subscription revenue streams for industry research partners. Customer behavior. Monetization. Customer interactions are often abundant with untapped monetization opportunities. Companies like Spotify monetize vast user behavior data, not merely by subscriptions but by selling anonymized listener trends to advertisers, informing precision ad targeting and strategic content development. Similarly, a travel app could monetize aggregated customer data by providing insights on traveler preferences to airlines and hotel chains, creating lucrative B2B revenue streams. Ethical handling and transparency are crucial, as consumer trust underpins this monetization model. Adjacent market expansion. Hidden monetization can also occur by strategically entering adjacent markets with minimal incremental investment. Uber, for example, realized its platform technology and logistics expertise had applications beyond passenger rides, expanding into food delivery, Uber Eats, and freight logistics, Uber Freight. Entrepreneurs should rigorously identify core competencies that can be seamlessly leveraged into closely related markets, unlocking significant revenue potential. Part 2. Data-driven leverage for strategic advantage. Understanding data as an asset requires strategic thinking about how it can amplify your business capabilities. Customer lifetime value, CLV. Optimization. Data-driven CLV analysis allows businesses to identify high-value customers and tailor experiences to enhance retention and profitability. Amazon systematically optimizes customer lifetime value by tracking purchasing behavior, proactively suggesting products based on sophisticated predictive analytics, driving additional revenues effortlessly. A business adopting CLV analytics can identify hidden whales, high-value customers whose buying potential far exceeds their initial transactions, investing strategically to retain and grow these profitable relationships. Pricing and revenue management. Intelligence, dynamic, data-driven pricing strategies enable businesses to extract optimal revenue from market opportunities. Airlines, hospitality, and rideshare companies master this through sophisticated yield management algorithms. Advanced startups can adopt similar pricing intelligence, continuously adjusting prices based on real-time supply-demand signals, maximizing margins without alienating customers. Real-world success stories like Airbnb demonstrate data-driven pricing power. They dynamically adjust prices based on market conditions, local events, and seasonal demand patterns, significantly enhancing host earnings and platform revenue. Predictive inventory and supply chain. Optimization, leveraging predictive analytics can dramatically reduce waste and increase profit margins. Zara, the fast fashion giant, expertly employs predictive analytics to manage inventory, quickly responding to consumer trends while minimizing unsold stock. Companies using similar methods can forecast demand more accurately, leading to fewer markdowns, reduced excess inventory costs, and optimized working capital. Part 3. Hidden asymmetries and competitive advantage. Monetization and data-driven leverage often exploit hidden asymmetries, market inefficiencies or unrecognized advantages inaccessible to competitors. Identifying and strategically leveraging these asymmetries can position businesses for sustained dominance. Information. Asymmetry. Businesses that possess unique insights or superior data access enjoy significant competitive advantages. Bloomberg, for example, capitalized on informational asymmetry by aggregating and packaging financial market data, creating a subscription empire. Entrepreneurs must identify areas where they hold exclusive or superior data insights, monetizing this asymmetric information advantage. Network and ecosystem. Asymmetry. Platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook leverage their extensive networks as competitive moats. Each user interaction enriches their data and strengthens their market position. Entrepreneurs can build similar network-driven asymmetries, monetize mastering GitHub, and deploying open-source projects. Welcome to Lecture 4 of our Advanced Business Finance and Technology course. Today we delve deeply into the strategic and technical mastery of GitHub, specifically focusing on how businesses and entrepreneurs can leverage GitHub and open-source deployment to amplify market positioning, generate hidden monetization opportunities, and achieve operational scalability. First, let's clarify the significance of GitHub in the broader business context. GitHub is far more than a code hosting platform. It's a strategic ecosystem where collaboration, community, innovation, and visibility intersect, presenting unparalleled opportunities to amplify business advantage and strategic leverage. Understanding GitHub's strategic value. To truly unlock GitHub's potential, it's crucial to perceive it as a strategic platform, not merely as a technical tool. Businesses today utilize GitHub as a medium to showcase innovation, attract top-tier talent, validate market potential, and significantly reduce R&D costs. Companies like Microsoft, Google, Netflix, and Airbnb strategically deploy their open-source projects on GitHub, not just for transparency, but to leverage crowdsourced innovation, community engagement, and rapid scalability. Let's explore these benefits deeper. Consider that when Microsoft acquired GitHub for $7.5 billion, critics initially questioned the purchase. However, strategically, Microsoft recognized GitHub's unparalleled value as an innovation hub, talent magnet, and market positioning instrument. By deeply integrating GitHub into their workflows, Microsoft not only significantly enhanced Azure's developer experience, but also accelerated market penetration, community building, and reputation enhancement. GitHub as a talent and innovation magnet. Companies that strategically deploy high-quality open-source projects on GitHub inherently position themselves as attractive destinations for top engineering talent. Highly talented developers often gravitate towards employers who demonstrate innovation, transparency, and leadership in open-source communities. For example, Facebook's React and Google's Kubernetes both originated as internal projects, yet strategically released to GitHub, immediately positioning these companies as thought leaders in software innovation. Thus, open-source deployment directly enhances recruitment, reputation, and competitive advantage. Practical steps to master GitHub for business advantage. Let's systematically examine strategic best practices to fully harness GitHub's power. Step 1. Structuring an effective repository. A professionally structured GitHub repository significantly influences a project's success and adoption. Essential elements include a clear README file, detailed documentation, licensing clarity, and meaningful project directories. A well-documented repository immediately increases credibility, reduces barriers to contribution, and maximizes community engagement. For instance, Google's TensorFlow gained massive adoption partly due to its clear and detailed documentation that attracted thousands of developers to extend its functionality. Step 2. Leveraging community. Engagement. Community engagement differentiates successful GitHub projects. Actively managing and interacting with your community via issues, pull requests, and discussions drastically accelerates project maturity and adoption. Netflix's Chaos Monkey project on GitHub exemplifies strategic community engagement. By actively managing interactions, Netflix gained valuable insights, reduced software vulnerabilities, and optimized service resilience through collaborative innovation. Step 3. Strategic licensing decisions. Licensing plays a critical role in maximizing strategic and financial leverage from GitHub projects. Carefully choosing an appropriate open-source license, such as MIT, Apache 2.0, or GPL, can dramatically influence adoption, contribution quality, and commercial integration potential. Businesses must strategically choose licenses aligned with commercial objectives, intellectual property considerations, and desired community involvement. Step 4. Analytics and visibility. Optimization. GitHub offers rich analytics features, providing insights into project adoption, contribution patterns, and audience demographics. Businesses can leverage these analytics to fine-tune strategic decisions, identify influential contributors, measure community health, and optimize marketing strategies. For instance, using analytics, Airbnb determined key adoption metrics for their open-source project, Apache Airflow, strategically positioning their technology to dominate workflow automation markets. Hidden monetization. Strategies using GitHub. A crucial but often underutilized component of GitHub's strategy is the monetization of open-source projects. Beyond conventional approaches, hidden monetization strategies on GitHub include strategic partnerships, premium services, dual licensing models, and consulting opportunities. Strategy 1. Dual licensing models. Companies can leverage dual licensing models to monetize open-source software. MongoDB effectively monetizes its open-source database through a dual licensing strategy, offering an open-source version alongside enterprise-grade premium licenses. This model allows widespread adoption while monetizing large enterprises requiring premium features or compliance assurances. Strategy 2. Premium managed services. Companies like Red Hat pioneered premium managed services built around open-source solutions. Leveraging GitHub visibility, a business can position itself as an authority, offering premium implementation, hosting, and managed services. For example, Elasticsearch initially built popularity via GitHub, later monetizing through managed cloud offerings, Elastic Cloud, which generated significant recurring revenue. Strategy 3. Strategic partnerships and sponsorship. GitHub strategically allows sponsorship models where individual developers or businesses receive direct financial support from their community. Additionally, strategic partnerships with larger corporations seeking credibility within open-source communities can unlock hidden monetization opportunities. For instance, OpenAI's collaboration and open-source partnerships helped significantly amplify market influence, monetizing indirectly through enhanced service adoption. Deploying open-source projects effectively. Now, let's delve into how businesses can strategically deploy their open-source projects to GitHub, ensuring maximum market impact and adoption. Deployment best practices. Version control and continuous integration, CI/CD. Integrate robust version control and continuous integration practices to ensure code stability, reliability, and streamlined updates. Robust documentation and tutorials. Ensure comprehensive and user-friendly documentation with clear setup instructions, tutorials, and examples. Community moderation. Actively moderate the community. Encourage feedback, resolve issues promptly, and foster a supportive environment for collaboration. Marketing and promotion. Actively promote your project via tech blogs, social media, developer forums, and strategic partnerships to maximize visibility and adoption. Ethical and strategic considerations in open-source deployment. Strategically deploying open-source projects on GitHub carries ethical implications and responsibilities. Transparency, contributor recognition, intellectual property protection, and sustainable community management are fundamental. Companies must carefully balance openness and commercial objectives, ethically navigating community expectations while safeguarding proprietary interests. Conclusion. Strategic mastery of GitHub for business. Advantage, mastering. GitHub and open-source deployment offers businesses unparalleled opportunities to strategically enhance their market positioning, innovate rapidly, attract elite talent, and monetize hidden revenue streams. To fully harness GitHub's potential, businesses must approach it strategically, systematically, and ethically, leveraging its full ecosystem to achieve sustainable competitive advantage, leveraging behavioral economics and hidden incentive structures for business advantage. Welcome to Lecture 6 of our Advanced Business Finance and Strategy course. Today's discussion delves deeply into the fascinating intersection of behavioral economics and hidden incentive structures, exploring nuanced insights to help you strategically harness cognitive biases, subtle incentives, and decision-making asymmetries for profound competitive advantage. Introduction. Why behavioral economics matters. Strategically. At the core, behavioral economics challenges classical economic theories by incorporating human psychology into economic decision-making. It acknowledges that humans are influenced heavily by cognitive biases, emotions, heuristics, and seemingly irrational behaviors. Companies strategically understanding and leveraging these biases gain extraordinary advantages, often subtly and invisibly influencing market outcomes, consumer choices, and competitor behaviors. Behavioral economics insights are no longer peripheral. They've become essential to high-level strategic decision-making. Amazon, Netflix, Uber, and Apple regularly integrate sophisticated behavioral insights into pricing strategies, marketing, product design, and user experiences. Today, we'll explore exactly how such strategic leverage is achieved and how you can implement similar tactics ethically and effectively. Part 1. Cognitive biases and strategic exploitation. To leverage behavioral economics strategically, we must first deeply understand key cognitive biases influencing consumer decisions. Anchoring effect. Anchoring is the human tendency to rely heavily on initial information when making decisions. For example, luxury brands deliberately set initial prices high to anchor consumer perception. Apple frequently employs anchoring, introducing a high-end product first, establishing consumer perception around premium pricing, before releasing slightly cheaper models. Strategically, companies can anchor perceptions to enhance perceived value and willingness to pay, even when subsequent prices remain objectively high. Loss aversion. Loss aversion refers to the human tendency to strongly prefer avoiding losses over acquiring equivalent gains. Insurance and warranty businesses thrive due to loss aversion. Consumers willingly pay premiums to prevent potential losses far exceeding the value of the premiums. Strategically, framing messages around potential losses rather than equivalent gains dramatically increases consumer engagement and purchasing behavior. Companies like Airbnb leverage loss aversion, highlighting potential missed opportunities. Only 2 rentals left at this price, to trigger immediate action. Status quo, bias and default effects. Humans disproportionately stick with existing choices, status quo, or defaults provided. Subscription models, Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, leverage status quo bias. Once subscribed, consumers rarely cancel, even if usage declines. Strategically, setting beneficial defaults, auto-renew subscriptions, recommended settings, ensures consumer retention and stable recurring revenues. Decoy effect. This bias occurs when consumer preference shifts between 2 options after introducing a third, asymmetrically inferior option. Movie theaters and SaaS pricing often implement this. An intentionally less attractive third pricing option subtly guides consumers towards more profitable choices. Strategically placing a decoy option increases consumer willingness to pay for targeted premium offerings. Part 2. Strategic application of hidden incentive structures. Understanding cognitive biases opens doors to another powerful strategy: crafting hidden incentive structures, subtly influencing stakeholder behavior. Gamification as a hidden incentive. Gamification introduces subtle reward mechanisms within non-game contexts. Apps like Duolingo masterfully employ gamification, streaks, points, badges, to sustain consumer engagement. Strategically, gamified incentives enhance customer retention, habitual usage, and long-term monetization potential. Businesses employing gamification must balance transparency and ethical clarity to sustain consumer trust. Tiered reward structures and loyalty programs. Tiered loyalty structures subtly influence consumer spending behaviors. Starbucks' rewards program expertly leverages this. Incremental incentives nudge consumers toward greater spending thresholds. Strategically designing tiered loyalty systems aligns consumer incentives with incremental spending behavior, significantly enhancing lifetime customer value. Behavioral nudges and micro-incentives. Behavioral nudges are subtle, minimally invasive incentives shifting behaviors without direct compulsion. Retirement savings plans utilize opt-out rather than opt-in structures, significantly boosting participation through subtle incentive framing. Strategically deploying nudges, such as opt-out defaults, timely reminders, and personalized prompts, can dramatically alter consumer decision-making at minimal cost. Part 3. Hidden asymmetries and ethical considerations. Leveraging cognitive biases and hidden incentive structures strategically involves significant ethical responsibilities. Businesses must transparently manage potential asymmetries to maintain consumer trust and regulatory compliance. Transparency and consumer trust. Strategically employing behavioral economics requires businesses to transparently communicate intentions, ensuring consumers don't feel manipulated. Trust violations carry severe long-term costs, damaging brands irreversibly. Ethical businesses clearly disclose incentives, e.g., data collection policies, reward structures, while leveraging biases responsibly to align consumer benefits and business objectives. Regulatory and ethical compliance. Behavioral insights, while powerful, invite scrutiny around consumer autonomy and manipulation risks. Regulators increasingly focus on digital dark patterns or deceptive interface designs manipulating consumer choices. Strategically, companies must proactively self-regulate, ensuring incentive structures enhance rather than exploit consumer decision-making. Companies like Apple proactively adjust policies and interface designs, strategically mitigating regulatory risks and consumer backlash. Part 4. Real-world case studies of behavioral strategy execution. Let's briefly explore sophisticated real-world applications. Netflix's strategic recommendation engines. Netflix strategically harnesses cognitive biases, status quo, anchoring, loss aversion, through tailored recommendations. Users anchor viewing habits based on initial recommendations, rarely deviating. By carefully leveraging viewing data, Netflix strategically ensures continuous engagement, increased subscriber retention, and reduced churn. Open source and GitHub. From collaboration to monetization. Welcome to Lecture 7 of our Advanced Business, Finance, and Strategy series. Today's discussion will focus on a nuanced, deeply strategic exploration of the open-source ecosystem and how platforms such as GitHub transform collaboration into powerful monetization opportunities. By the end of this lecture, you'll understand how strategic engagement in open source can yield substantial competitive advantages, revenue streams, and market leverage. Introduction. Open source as strategic business. Infrastructure. To begin, we must clarify a fundamental insight. Open source is no longer purely about free software or ideological collaboration. It is a strategically valuable business infrastructure, enabling companies not just to collaborate openly, but also to monetize hidden leverage points strategically embedded in open collaboration. Major corporations like Microsoft, Google, IBM, Red Hat, and Netflix consistently leverage open-source ecosystems as critical pillars of strategic growth, product development acceleration, and market positioning. Central to this ecosystem is GitHub, the leading global platform for code hosting, collaboration, and version control. GitHub's strategic value lies not merely in software development, but in enabling a robust marketplace of ideas, talent, innovation, and monetization opportunities. Today, we'll deeply examine this sophisticated interplay, identifying hidden strategies and precise monetization tactics that businesses strategically leverage through open source and GitHub. Part 1. Strategic benefits of open source. Collaboration. First, let's explore strategic benefits that open source collaboration provides businesses. Rapid innovation and reduced development costs. Strategically leveraging open source communities dramatically accelerates innovation and significantly reduces development costs. Companies harness global talent, gaining access to thousands of expert contributors without the overhead costs of traditional recruitment. Linux exemplifies this strategic benefit. Collaboratively developed and continuously improved by thousands globally, Linux powers vast portions of enterprise computing infrastructure at negligible direct costs. Talent acquisition and thought leadership companies. Releasing open-source projects strategically attract elite talent, building formidable talent pipelines. Google's strategic release of Kubernetes open-sourced a sophisticated internal orchestration tool, transforming Google into a market thought leader and magnet for high-caliber software engineers globally. Strategically, open-source initiatives bolster company reputation, facilitating recruitment of scarce engineering talent at lower costs. Market positioning and competitive advantage. Open source strategically repositions companies as innovation leaders. Netflix's open-source projects, like Chaos Monkey, Eureka, and Hystrix, not only enhance Netflix's internal capabilities but also position Netflix as a thought leader in reliability engineering and cloud computing. Strategically, such open-source contributions generate extensive brand visibility, consumer trust, and significant competitive differentiation. Part 2. Monetizing open source. Through GitHub. Understanding strategic open-source benefits leads us directly into how these benefits are monetized effectively, especially via GitHub. Premium services and support model. A primary strategic monetization approach involves offering premium support, consulting, and managed services around open-source software. Red Hat pioneered this model, monetizing enterprise-grade support and professional services around open-source Linux. Today, companies like Elastic, Elasticsearch, MongoDB, and Confluent, Kafka, leverage GitHub to distribute their open-source solutions while monetizing premium enterprise services and consulting. Strategically, this model combines widespread adoption via open-source licenses with robust monetization streams from large enterprises. Open core and dual licensing. Open core and dual licensing strategies involve offering core functionality freely while monetizing proprietary extensions, enterprise-specific features, or premium licenses. MongoDB strategically employs dual licensing, offering a free open-source community edition alongside proprietary enterprise licenses. GitHub becomes a strategic platform enabling rapid adoption, contribution, and ecosystem growth around core functionality, while businesses strategically monetize enterprise-specific requirements. GitHub sponsors and strategic patronage. GitHub sponsors directly monetizes open-source contributions, strategically aligning community incentives with corporate objectives. Companies sponsor key developers, ensuring ongoing innovation aligns with strategic interests. This subtle monetization method, strategic patronage, ensures sustainable open-source innovation, community goodwill, and strategic ecosystem influence. Part 3. Leveraging GitHub. Ecosystems strategically. GitHub is more than a mere code repository. Strategically, it is an expansive ecosystem offering multiple hidden leverage points. Marketplace and integration ecosystems. GitHub strategically enables integration ecosystems, facilitating seamless collaboration across diverse software tools. Businesses strategically leveraging GitHub Marketplace position their solutions directly within developer workflows, driving adoption and monetization. For instance, GitHub integrations with CI/CD providers like CircleCI, Travis CI, and GitHub Actions strategically monetize developer productivity enhancements via subscription models, usage fees, or premium integrations. Analytics and data-driven leverage. Strategically, GitHub Analytics offer profound insights into adoption patterns, contributor behaviors, and project health. Companies leverage these strategic analytics to identify high-value contributors, optimize community engagement, and tailor product strategies precisely to user needs. Strategic use of GitHub Analytics enables businesses to refine monetization strategies, targeting features and services precisely aligned with market demand. Strategic licensing and IP management. GitHub's ecosystem strategically facilitates sophisticated licensing management, intellectual property control, and strategic open-source compliance. Businesses strategically utilize licensing mechanisms to ensure open-source components align with monetization models, reducing risk, ensuring compliance, and maximizing intellectual property leverage. Strategic IP management on GitHub ensures seamless monetization of enterprise-grade offerings alongside open-source community editions. Part 4. Strategic real-world case studies in GitHub monetization. Let's briefly highlight strategic case studies exemplifying open-source monetization through GitHub. Docker. Strategic ecosystem monetization. Docker strategically leveraged GitHub to rapidly distribute containerization technology, transforming IT infrastructure globally. Monetization occurred via enterprise-grade support, Docker Enterprise, cloud-managed services, Docker Hub, and strategic partnerships, Microsoft AWS. Docker's strategic use of GitHub enabled rapid developer adoption, simultaneously monetizing enterprise-specific extensions and cloud integrations. HashiCorp, strategic open core monetization. HashiCorp strategically utilized GitHub to distribute open-source tools like Terraform, Vault, and Consul widely. Monetization emerged via an open core model, monetizing premium enterprise features, professional support, and strategic cloud partnerships. GitHub strategically facilitated community growth, rapid ecosystem expansion, and seamless transition of enterprise users into monetized premium offerings. Part 5. Ethical and Strategic Considerations. Monetizing open source strategically involves significant ethical considerations. Transparency and community trust. Strategically monetizing open source communities requires transparency and trust. Clearly, communicating monetization strategies, openly engaging contributors, and ensuring community alignment are strategic imperatives. Violating community trust through excessive commercialization or misalignment with community values risks damaging brands irreparably. Businesses must strategically balance open collaboration and commercial monetization ethically and transparently. Sustainable strategic balance. Sustaining open source communities while monetizing strategically requires balanced incentives. Companies strategically aligning monetization goals with community needs ensure long-term sustainability and mutual benefits. Strategically incentivizing developers, contributors, and users ensures open-source innovation remains vibrant, community-driven, and commercially sustainable. Conclusion. Strategic monetization of open source and GitHub. Strategically leveraging open source and GitHub for monetization offers substantial competitive advantages, robust revenue streams, and sustained market positioning. Businesses effectively harnessing open source ecosystems strategically balance community engagement, transparent monetization methods, and ethical considerations. Through sophisticated monetization strategies, premium support services, dual licensing, GitHub sponsors, ecosystem integrations, businesses transform collaborative open source projects into significant revenue generators. By strategically navigating this complex ecosystem, businesses not only thrive commercially, but also build enduring, trusted brands at the forefront of technological innovation.